tell our friends, and they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. We gonna live forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special episode of the Boyscast Punching Down Podcast Combo
Remix.
Boo, 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 boo. We've got a whole boardroom, as promised. I definitely said that I was going to do something. Actually, to be honest, I said that we're probably going to go to the beach or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Well, we ran that. We were yesterday. We were like, we should go to the beach, and then yesterday was like 88 degrees or something, and we're like, yeah, this is gonna be hot as fuck. We're
doing a
gonna be
podcast on the beach would just be sitting there for 2 seconds and be like, yeah, wrap this puppy
yeah,
up.
and the thing is, Ryan's putting like I have a decent tan going on. You just cook, like you would just be like so sunburned, like your fucking ginger shit.
I went to the beach like 3 days ago, and it was me and Jan, and we were there, and for about, I would say we were there for an hour and a half, and I didn't bring headphones or anything, so I was literally just sitting there on the beach. This is what happened. The girl said, she's like on the thing, just like lying there.
Yeah. Do you guys have chairs? Did they give you chairs?
No, you can't get the chairs. If you want to get the chairs, you have to sign up for the people that live there.
No. So the place I'm staying at, they're just like, we have chairs you can just take.
That's very nice of them.
Yeah.
So I basically, for an hour, I lied there for 20 minutes, and then I went swimming for 4 minutes, and just by myself. So I'm just sort of splashing around. And then I went back, lied on the beach for another 20 seconds. And then I went back into the pool or the water, ocean, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Then I went back, lied on my thing, and I was like, okay, how much longer are we doing?
Yeah,
this?
you're basically like, I've done everything that there is to do at the beach.
I did all the events. I sort of bopped around.
Yeah,
with the
you
chicks
did
for a
everything.
bit.
You maybe go for a walk sometimes.
I did.
That's a move you go, we'll walk up the beach for 10 minutes.
That's exactly
Just check
what
it
it
out. And you go, okay, so I got exercise, I got sun, water. And you're like, what else do I do here?
Yeah, and then so basically, and then I go, okay, well, let's wrap this up. And she was like, I'm gonna be here till 6, and I'm like, it's 2.
Oh.
So I go, okay, I guess I'll just leave.
Yeah,
I just left, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll walk around Miami by myself. I walked around Miami for 8 minutes. I go, what is my life? I go, what are we doing?
You're not even like
I'm going to the office.
You're not like really a cool part of Miami to be walking around. Like the office is like, this is where the cool part of Miami to bop around.
No,
is.
I was bopping around.
Yeah.
But we have so I got the best article, which is sort of a throwback article that someone sent me. And it's basically, the big question is, and everyone's been asking this, so I'm not the first person to pose this question, but are feminist men better at sex?
Yes.
And
consensual?
well, I thought that you were the best person to answer this question too, because, well, you're a notorious
known feminist.
Good fuck. People don't know this. So when Danny was dating Danny's girlfriend at the time, I was doing stuff with her friend.
Who she used to date.
Okay, yeah.
Like
so
that's the one big secret that people don't know is my ex-girlfriend and Ryan's ex, like whatever, no, but like they used to date.
So basically what happened was I was sort of talking to this girl first.
How does that work? What's the story?
I'm about to explain.
No, but I'm saying like
I'm about to explain what happened. Basically,
you had my girl's sloppy seconds.
That's not. It actually went the other way around, though. That's the thing you're missing. I was doing stuff with the one girl, and then she put my dick onto your girlfriend, and then you transferred my dick from her. You basically sucked my dick.
Oh,
because if you think about it, that was
so
the order of
gay?
occurrence. Yeah.
Honestly,
That's what happened.
Miami was the place for me to find
Alyssa
this out.
put the dick to Kaylee, and then transferred from Kaylee to your mouth was my peen.
Is that how that went down?
Yeah.
I think you might be right.
And the other thing is, too, what you don't realize on that is my dick's been in tons of dudes' asses. So you also transferred all the poo.
Wait, you're trying to say that when I was fucking dudes at the bathhouse, you might have been fucking some of them?
So basically what this girl said was, she goes, oh yeah, apparently Kaylee says Danny's the best fuck she ever had.
And I did unsolicited. You guys were like literally making fun of me. And I was like,
so everyone basically, yeah. And as the legend has it, that Danny walks into the room, hard hat, lunch pail. If you ever see a girl walking funny,
yeah, just
you
assume
Polish job.
Oh.
That's what happened. So
yeah.
But this is a throwback article, and there's a second part of it too. But the first part, and why feminist men are better at sex. So they're already starting.
What's the source of this? Do you know?
This was a Vice magazine piece.
Oh, this is Vice. Okay, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Well, the funny part about all these articles in general is the especially the parts where like how feminist girls have sex. They essentially they just rig the system so no matter what they do, they're still a feminist. It's like, maybe sometimes I like to get choked. Maybe sometimes I want to get the shit beat out of me.
Right.
Maybe sometimes when maybe sometimes I need to make more money. But if I make less money, I'm still like.
Or it's like they're like, I'm joining a convent and I'm taking a vow of celibacy.
And that's why I'm still a feminist, even though
I'm like,
why I'm still a feminist in a convent.
Yeah, I'm going to join ISIS, and why I'm still a feminist, even though there must be someone who's like, there must be a Vice article somewhere that's like, this woman joined ISIS, but she's still a feminist. But don't tell her she's not a feminist.
That's like the general gist of all these articams.
It's like the sketch you did with like the fucking random word generator, like
like why I am leeching off my dad, but I'm still a feminist.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're actually fighting the patriarchy.
By the way, there's just to only speak to that, like in Miami, the only place I've seen it, have you seen the billboards and stuff where it's just like these young girls and it goes, "Daddy, why do you pay women less?" There's just there are billboards everywhere, and it's like it's just brought to you by some like generic women's coalition.
I would love if you drove 50 meters down the road, and then there was a second billboard that says because they do less work.
Yeah. And it's like some just like fucking old sugar daddy looking dude. And goes,
I pay them 70% less because they're only 70% of a person.
You think that's like Mackenzie Bezos or whatever? She's like the kind of female George Soros, and she's like funding this stuff right now. Like she's like she has all this money from her divorce, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna get into like some fucking just riling people up. She's gonna start funding these billboards.
Yeah, she is. What was you were doubling down when you were doing the hard money article, the self-made woman.
Yeah, I kept calling
her name, Mackenzie Bezos.
Mackenzie Bezos,
self-made woman.
Just calling her self, and people were like really like responding to me like, oh, she's not self-made. She got her money from Jeff Bezos. Like, no, I'm pretty sure she's self-made.
That's the one thing we were saying because. There's some friends. Well, basically, we have one buddy that'll always post Danny Polishuk's takes from like 2016. He'll be like, I don't know if these trans women should be fighting in the UFC. And Danny's always like, 2016 called. They want my takes back. But the one friend that keeps sending me stuff like that, and we're saying that, when like a communist chick goes to university, she comes back from her first semester of university. This guy, it's the dudes that came back from their first semester of PragerU. They come back from their first semester of PragerU.
He goes, there's actually no wage gap? The wage gap is a myth?
Yeah.
Like all that stuff. Joe Biden wants to turn America into a fucking socialist Cuba?
I think these woke people are lying.
Yeah.
They just came back from their first semester of PragerU. Okay, so it starts with, you probably already understand why dating a feminist man is fundamental to your mental health. So it's already, everyone listening to this already knows, but here are 9 important reasons for straight women to sleep with feminist men and leave the misogynist to their own devices, aka Pornhub. So that's
a weird thing because like these women are all pro like pornography, sex work, and then you're like, oh, but only misogynists are like going on Pornhub.
Yeah,
like it seems
they're
like
making their own new porn where it's like, you know what I mean? The
like
dude's doing the dishes.
The
dude's doing the dishes.
He's braiding her armpit hair, and then he eats her. Then he eats her out, and that's the whole.
That's the whole porn.
Yeah.
He's walking around the house and just like naked with just the apron on, and then she comes up behind him and she goes, "Hey, what's up?" And she goes, and he goes, "Shh." That's the thing, though. I will say
he's fixing he's stuck in the washing machine, in the dryer, trying to fix it. She comes in and pegs him, and then just leaves him there. And he goes like, "I'm still stuck."
He's stuck in the washing machine, and he has the toolkit on, but he doesn't know how to use it.
He's not even stuck. He's just fixing it, and then she just comes and pegs him
because he doesn't know how to use the tools.
She pegs him with his fucking screwdriver.
I like the idea that that's because it's better for your mental health having sex with a feminist, whereas. Opposed to when you're having sex with Danny and he's whispering in your ear, "Clean your room,
make your bed."
Yeah, Danny's whispering all these Jordan Peterson slogans.
He goes, "I'm the lobster." Just giving it to her.
Danny, you come out naked with a lobster costume on. She goes, "What exactly is this?"
I got the claws, and I'm like,
yeah, that's what.
She's like, "You can figure me with those claws." You're like, "You goddamn right I am."
Okay, so number 1 is feminist men want to help you close the orgasm gap. Men who define themselves as feminists understand that casual hookups don't always end well for hetero women. When they swipe right or go home with someone at the bar, we increase chances of getting off when we go home with a feminist man. Feminist men are more likely to know where your clitoris is because they give a damn. Well, as you would say, facts don't care about your orgasms. That's when you're having sex.
Disagree.
Facts don't care about your orgasm.
Wait, can we just note too that like every person we know, at least, you know, maybe it's a small sample size, like in our world of comedy, every single one that's ever been accused of anything inappropriate has been a male feminist.
Yeah, I mean, just restart the clock.
Yeah, it's like 100%. Like,
but it's so funny, the idea, just even of the bat, you're like, feminist men know where a clitoris is better.
like,
they got the map. Hillary told them.
Yeah, Hillary told them where it is.
Facts don't care about your orgasms. Is that okay? So in your experience as a man that puts down performances,
yeah,
are you known to know where the clitoris is? Do you?
I kind of snoop around down there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm poking around.
Do you put the light on your head?
I got the miner's lamp. I got soot all over.
Miner's lamp.
I got soot all over my face when I come out of there.
Yeah,
just like pick ass.
Because she's been cleaning the chimney. Obviously,
she's been cleaning the chimney.
Chimney's your ass.
No, it's because I eat her ass and then I come out looking like a fucking miner. It's like Zoolander.
They understand that you might have body insecurities, so that the first thing is their feminist men are providing more orgasms, which you think that, I guess the idea for that is like the guy pleasures you. I always go back to this idea where it's like, because they're always saying, feminist men pleasure you like just nonstop.
Yeah.
And you go, as opposed to, so option one is you have sex with a guy and he's your sex slave essentially.
Right.
So it's kind of funny because they want to like prop up feminist men, but like in their description, they're like, he's like a bitch that just, I feel like.
Yeah, they want them to be a bitch. They don't want them to be like, they're like the masculine man is the guy who like starts wars and like, like rapes people and evicts people and like that's just like that.
And the
guy's
feminist
bad.
man is just, he's like at your service.
Yeah, like he's at your
they
service.
want a sidekick is sort of what they
want. They just want like a free like labor. Like I don't know, they just want like
they want a free labor.
Slave.
They want to But then also the part of his slavery is he has to act. It's kind of funny because too, so a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh, I want to be, but also I want to be like degraded, whatever. Dominated,
right?"
And it's like, but it's almost like part of their cosplaying, where the feminist man like cosplays like a man that's not that guy.
Kind
so
of.
Like,
I mean, that
like what he really wants to do is pleasure you for hours on end.
Yeah.
But if you want to, I'll put on this hat. Like he puts on a hat of like a hunting hat.
I mean, honestly, I'm like laughing a little bit at the idea of like the super male feminist guy, and then he has to put on the like degrading you, like kind of like macho dude, and then because he probably is like not good at that. That must be like a tough.
Yeah,
you got to be like Daniel Day-Lewis range. At
but
that
no,
point
because this is what they think when they're picturing. Like, and I think they mentioned this later. When they're picturing a male feminist, what they're picturing is Ryan Gosling, who's like nice to women. What they're not picturing is like, hello.
But then what was?
Excuse me.
Yeah, what was the Ryan Gosling in the movie where he's got all the tattoos, where he like
that's who they're picturing.
Stomps that guy's face in. Like
no, but they're picturing that guy, but with a heart of gold.
Right.
Not.
Excuse me. The wage.
Is he bothering you?
The wage gap is maybe more than 72%.
Right, and then they're that guy. They're
Yeah,
like, now dominate me.
Yeah, dominate me. Exactly. And he goes. It's like the guy who's like he puts his hands on your neck and goes, "Is this all right?"
You know what? You have
Maybe.
to. So he has to cosplay a man, but the only way they can do that if she cosplays a woman who wronged herself. Do you know what I mean? Like she cosplays her dad, and then he's like, he gives us the Bart Simpson.
Yeah,
sort
they
of
gotta
thing.
get really like they have like a pre-production meeting just to kind of nail down everything.
And they say, okay. So the second one, they say they might understand that you might have body insecurities. So that's another reason. The male feminists understand you have body insecurities because of the relentless, destructive, ongoing march of the patriarchy. Whereas when you have sex with a girl, she sort of shows up and you go, you fucking whale. She takes off her top. You go, you call those tits?
Yeah.
What do you?
Like, what are those?
Has that been your experience? Where do you understand that women
are insecure about their bodies?
Yeah.
Sure.
These
are never things that when you're at the point of having sex, they're never like things
Yeah, you're more worried about how much is it costing.
Yeah.
How long do you get? Do you get to do all of the things?
Yeah, like do I have to tip?
it is the idea of kind of what I'm saying. It's like all of these articles go back to just like a narcissist being like, how can I be served? And it's like a girl being like, feminist men aren't going to make fun of me because I'm disgusting. It's the equivalent.
Yeah.
She says they understand. It's like, well, why would that be an issue if you're not,
And
She's
they
like,
go, I
well,
think
I'm 60
I think
pounds
those
overweight.
ones are even. They're like even when they are hot, they're so caught up in like the bullshit of like that world that they're like, oh, I'm so insecure. Even though like,
Why not just date a guy in your league? Like if you're gross, and
every girl mostly is dating guys like out of their or not out of their. Every
well,
guy
that's what I'm
mostly.
saying though. In this scenario, she's with Ryan Gosling, right? That's what you're forgetting. So she's with Gosling at this time, and she's like,
That's
he's
why
not going to
she's so-
shame me for the fact that
Right.
I don't work out, even though he's got a chiseled bod, as you
Right.
call it,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
as you've mentioned about
As I've
Gosling's
mentioned.
body.
Yeah.
2. Okay, 3. Male feminists are totally cool with experimenting because they're not remotely threatened by power dynamics.
Yeah. That's literally getting pegged. When they say experimenting and not worried about power dynamics, that is specifically like, I am jamming the longest, widest shit in this guy's ass. And it's like, fine.
That's, I think, another problem is these people realize because her sort of thing is like he's willing to experiment, but the type of guy like the girl doesn't get anything from pegging, so it's like no. You're gonna be pegging him because he needs that.
Yeah, because exactly. Or he's like, he needs to be humiliated by his girlfriend. Like he needs this weird power.
That's the thing. I think the first couple times she's like, oh, you have sex with this male feminist dude, and you're like, oh, he was willing to kind of do everything I wanted, and you're like, no, he needed to do everything you wanted.
Like maybe like she's talking to her girlfriend a couple weeks later. She goes, yeah, like I don't really get what I'm getting from stepping on his balls.
He's willing to experiment.
Yeah.
It is, it's good to be with a guy that's just like willing to do things that I want. And like, what did you want? It's like, I guess I wanted to call him a fag.
Yeah, fag and step on his balls with high heels. And you go, did you want that though?
I guess what I wanted to do was have sex with another man while he watched. I guess this guy's so experimental. He's basically the Grateful Dead. He's so experimental. But that's what it is. It's because it's like they're not threatened by power dynamics or whatever. But it's like it kind of goes back to the thing where it's like, well, did he want to do that or not want to do that?
Right.
Because you're like, oh, he's cool with experimenting, and you go, okay. But is it stuff that he wanted to experiment in or stuff that you want to experiment? Because if you're a feminist girl and you're like, this guy's so sick, he's willing for me to put a chair leg up his ass.
Yeah.
He's
fucking folding chairs.
Yeah,
right up the ass.
That's the experiment. Yeah. Well, would be my experimenting. Like, I want you to lie on the bed, and then I'm going to do like go upstairs, take my armbands off, throw them into the crowd that's watching, and then do a frog splash with an erect penis into your ass.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I was thinking I'd do that to you.
There you go.
And I take the folding chair, and that's going to be, I'm going to put that up your ass.
Right.
And either you get one of two options. You get a guy that's like, ugh, okay, fine.
No, a
because-
guy's just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And
no,
then-
well, that's the third option, but I'm saying in the feminist
Yeah.
man category,
Oh,
she's
the
referring
feminist
to.
man, yeah.
Option 1 is you get the guy that goes, I don't want to, or you get the option 2 where it's like, yeah, I really not want to. So really, she's like, I don't want a feminist man. I want a guy that's like into the exact experimentation I'm into.
Right.
Which is, I have this fetish where I like to degrade men, but that's the problem. If you're a girl and you're like, I really want to degrade men,
Yeah.
and then this guy really likes it, it kind of wouldn't do the trick for you.
Yeah, obviously. It's
Do
like
you know what I mean?
the moment that they're into it, you're like, this isn't degrading anymore.
Like if you're a guy and you're like, I want to have sex with a girl against her will, and then she's like, oh, I've wanted this so bad. The guy, like if that's your thing, you're like, next.
Next. No, thank you. That's the thing. I'm not a very like experimental guy in that regard. So it's like, and I've never been with a chick who's like, let's do all this like really like weird shit. So I was like, I don't know. That would be
You never been peed on or anything like that?
No, I told you. You know my fucking thoughts on the peeing on thing. It's like, dude, if I'm ever with a girl, I've been with a girl who like squirts in my bed, and I'm just like, honestly, the moment that happens, I'm like, I have to sleep in this thing. Like, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. Like, fucking, like, if you think this is gonna happen, let's go on the couch or let's lay down a tarp or like, I don't know.
Yeah, you literally are that guy that during sex.
I'm not even like a crazy neurotic guy. I'm not a germaphobe. None of this stuff. But when you're like introducing like piss onto my bed, like the thing I sleep in, and I'm like, you know, I spend a third of my life in this thing. I'm like, yeah, that's no,
And that's you.
no bueno.
So she is making a point that with a guy like you,
Yeah,
she'd be like, let me squirt on you. And you go, but a third of my life is spent on this bed.
Milton. But can we do this? Can we maybe lay down? No, I'm just a guy. I'll go, you want to squirt? Let's squirt. Let's just lay down a tarp.
You want to fucking squirt?
Let's just lay down a tarp first.
I mean, if you want to fucking squirt, then let's just squirt. But lay down
You
a
want a
tarp
fucking
first.
manly man? What's more manly than me laying down a fucking tarp right now?
No, she doesn't want a manly man. She wants a man who's
Right, she wants a bitch boy.
down for it.
Yeah, so I'm down for it. I just want the tarp.
Do you think there's he eats her out? It's like, when you eat me out, why are you mouthing a dick? Like he's pretending.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's just pretending with his hands that like jerking off an air dick. That's right. Jerking off an air dick.
There's probably a lot of that too, where girls she like make you just like suck a dildo, and you're like, who's getting anything out of this?
Well, the guy. That's the thing.
yeah, because she's like, wait, I think he's just maybe gay.
I think a lot of the feminist men probably is a bunch of like dudes that are no. Yes, bi dudes. Yeah, 100% bi dudes, but also dudes that are like into some really degenerate shit. And they've convinced girls that I'm doing this for women's rights.
Yeah, there's a women's rights thing.
You know what? Men have been on top for too long.
So I'm gonna suck on this dildo right now.
As you know, you guys have been through enough. So we're gonna hand
defeat the patriarchy, sucking one dildo at a time.
Yeah, and I'm on your team. So whether he follows Roxanne Gay on Twitter, so that's like a female feminist, I think, or he watches girls. Feminist. So this is female male feminist. But this is why. Okay, so they're cool with experimenting as this one still, and whether he watches Roxanne Gay or Girls, you know, whether he's a guy that watches the show Girls, or maybe he just takes women's studies courses in college, a feminist man understands that the inequalities of the world at large extend to our bedrooms.
Yeah.
So that's why he pays you for sex. He's not afraid of you getting yours.
I forgot that guys took women's studies in college. Like I remember that in first year university where like some guys would be like, yeah, women's. And like literally every time you're like, they're like the whole thing was like
trying to get pussy.
Trying to get pussy.
That was the big
always
joke.
Like that, but like that was the thing. There was never a guy who was like, never if you got a
No, you're gonna be studying the talent in the class.
Yeah, literally the guy was like, yeah, like what do you mean? There's fucking like 80 women and 10 guys. Like
that was an ongoing joke and
that wasn't even the joke. It was like guys were like, yeah, that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing this because I'm the only guy in the class.
Yeah, they're like, I'm stacking the fucking odds in my favor.
Yeah.
But you're like, but now in this context of like, you know, whatever, this is 20 years ago, you're like, oh yeah, it's like.
Yeah, they call me Roxanne, not gay. I am a feminist, but my feminist alter ego is Roxanne Straight.
It's Roxanne Straight.
So what they say is, you're not afraid, whereas you were afraid of the girls getting hers. You're not afraid of her getting hers, and that'll take something away from him. There are enough orgasms to go around for all of us, which is when you have sex, and she's about to come, you go,
not so fast, lady.
This is my orgasm.
Yeah, it's excuse me, it's my turn for the orgasm.
Yeah,
you had the last one. So.
Excuse me, this is my turn to come. You're ruining it. You're ruining it. This is now they're just like making up stuff where they go, he's not afraid of you getting yours. It's one thing to say that the guy doesn't care as much.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like when guys are like, no guys like doesn't want his
afraid.
They're just like lazy or they don't care. They're just like, yeah, I don't know. I just want, you know, they're selfish or whatever. But it's not like, oh, I'm worried. Like, what's she gonna become if she starts coming too much? What's this relationship gonna be?
It's all this thing is like, if you have the dynamic where you go, okay, I'm gonna be the girl that I'm just pleasured nonstop, and the guy's just putting in this nonstop performances. I'm not paying for everything too. So that's part of this where it's like the equality. It's like, you're right. Maybe you become the man in the bedroom situation, but when it comes to
what is the etiquette on like if you have a girl?
I'm not going to your grandparents' house now. Is it?
Yeah. You're like, there's a trade-off. This isn't free, but they want you to do all those things. But like, what's the point where you go like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy you one of these like Hitachi wand things.
What's that?
Like those fucking, you know, those like big vibrator things.
I'm not familiar. Like, I'm sure you're very familiar. But
I have a couple of them.
All of these girls' problems, Like all of these girls were like, I need a guy that worships me and he's done all this stuff. And it's like, just date a guy a point less hot than you.
I know.
All of your problems are solved. All this stuff where it's like, men are douchebags and this, you know who won't be a
maybe
douchebag?
not a point, but like a few.
A few points. But
few
like,
points.
You know who won't be, like, as you say, a douchebag to you? The guy that you're hotter than.
Yeah. No, the guy who's like literally in love with you, who everybody's like, he's so in love with you. And you're like, yeah, we're just friends.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. That guy.
That guy that exists for almost every woman
the guy at your
in the
work
world.
sitting by the copies.
Who you know likes you, and you're like, yeah, I'm not
He's
really
been in love
into
with
him.
you. You've been, convincing him to
You
carry
know,
your.
but he's like,
He's helped you move 3 times.
right. But you're like, he's a bit of a bitch, and he does nothing for you. And
He helped you move and brought the pizza.
Yeah, exactly. He helped you. Like, he just offers to do stuff for you all the time. That guy. That guy will do everything you want. He will eat you out for an hour a day every day.
It's solved.
You can
And
peg
then you know
him.
what? And then once he's sick of your shit, get a new guy that's.
Yeah, those guys. There's an endless amount of them.
There's an endless amount. And what you need is a simp. And all of these people is what they describe as that. They're like, a guy that's afraid of you getting your orgasm. It's like, it's like, this guy hates you.
Yeah, or he's like at work.
He's at work.
He just has a bunch of. He has a life.
Yeah, he has to work
Yeah.
tomorrow. And you're demanding, excuse me. Excuse me.
Fucking 2-hour eat out session, and he's like, yeah, I gotta.
So whether she's on top, if you're a girl, whether you're on top or you just want to be dominated, your feminist man is usually down to at least try it out. So whether you want to be on top or you want to be dominated, well, which is it? Your feminist man's usually allowed to try it out. Dominating you is always the funny part of the feminist agenda, where it's like, this is what I was talking about at the beginning, because all of it goes back to this idea that, like, sexually though, I want to be like him, slap me around. And you'll be like, well, why is that you want like a dynamic where the man is more of the man and the woman's more the woman?
Yeah. And then they're like,
so it's almost like,
back to and then they're like, but I just wanted to be empowered by it instead of not empowered.
Yeah,
by it.
they're just like changing the name on
They
it.
just trade. Yeah, they go like, they're like, oh, porn is so shameful, and now they're like, porn's empowering.
And you know what the other part is? Because they're basically saying that, sometimes I may want to be the one that's dominating, and sometimes I want to be dominated. Have you experienced any girls that is like Jekyll and Hyde with that, where it's like sometimes she wants to slap? See what I'm saying?
No.
Where it's like sometimes she actually wants to like come in, slaps you around, like challenge you to a duel, basically, when you're having sex, put you on the bed, peg you, and then sometimes she wants you to like,
dude.
It's like no, it's one or the other.
I mean, again, I wouldn't. Like, if the girl's just like, all right, I got this dildo. I'd be like, all right, I'm out of here. Like, like I don't know. Like, I'm gonna peg you now. I'm like, I'm gonna leave now. I don't. Yeah, I didn't sign up for this.
I'll do a bit more wacky stuff, but never really a dildo in the ass. That's
Fuck no. Like where she has like the leather.
Your
like,
girls
jock
that you date
strap.
are too chatty too. Like they would never get away with it.
No. I'm like, but it's like the leather. I mean, whatever. We hang out with like JJ, who's like in all sorts of, but it's like, the idea of like they have like the leather like dildo strap with like interchangeable, like they snap on like a Dyson vacuum, like like. Hell no.
But my point is, okay, maybe that girl exists and there's like 1 in 10 girls.
Yeah.
But that girl also switching and be like, no, but I also want to be like bossed around and pushed on the floor and all that sort of stuff, depending on my mood.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those is the cosplay where they go, like, I don't like to be bossed around during sex. It's the most annoying thing. If the girl starts me, do this, do that, I go, ugh.
Like, I what do you mean do this, do that? I have 2 things I do. I can do this or that. So do this, do that. It's like, so yeah, I'll do this, I'll do the other thing, or I'll go back to the thing. It's like, I don't know.
And then have you ever been left for a feminist man after all your, and then that's the thing. That's
probably.
You're a pretty good case for that she's wrong, because if you think about it, you basically have your 2 things you do, right? Which is, the pump 1 and then pump 2.
Yeah. And then just
and
variations
then
of
you
the
still
2.
have girls that like won't break. You've never really been broken up with by a girl. And then you still
one, but it was not.
And then you mostly have girls going around telling people that you're the fuck of the because they want, they've convinced themselves.
They've convinced themselves. Yeah, they're just lying to themselves.
Where they go, this guy fucks so good, and what do you do? I don't something about it.
There's something going on.
Something I don't know what it is, but there's something about the pixie dust that he springs on the pixie dick.
Yeah. The pixie dick.
It's a pixie dick.
Yeah.
Why is it a pixie dick? It's so tiny.
It's like literally just this
size of a pixie.
It's a straw, basically.
But that's why. So my point is, I think the second one is got to be cosplaying.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? The first one, so they're basically, they want
by
to be
cosplaying,
dominated.
you're saying lying to yourself.
Yes. So the first one, the dominating, they're like, yeah, let's be dominated. The second part where they're like getting dominated, that's for show.
Yes. Yeah. The dominating's for show.
Yes.
Yeah, them doing
the dominating is for show.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's like if you're a guy who's not into that, like that's a weird probably experience to have to like sit through that whole thing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like
it's just nonsense. I've been there with I used to fight with my ex.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, especially if she was sauced up, she'd be like this and this. I go, stop.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, you're like, I'm not into this. Yeah, they're like trying to like start with you for a second, and you're like, no, this is not happening.
Or just like even the stuff where it's like the girl's too drunk. Like as a man, if I'm like 10 minutes, whatever, however many minutes in drunk, like I eventually tap out. I go, you know what? Not gonna happen.
Right.
Unfortunately, it was your fault. I go, listen, try harder next time, okay?
Yeah.
You're not gonna eat you're not gonna be getting dinner tomorrow.
We'll watch some game tape and
watch some game tape, but that's on you.
That's on you, yeah.
But I wouldn't. Girls sometimes, if they do get into like this is happening, and then after a while, and I'd be like, okay, and then she go, no, blah blah. I go, no. This has been 45 minutes. The ship has sailed, sister.
I know.
You watch some game tape of yourself again.
I mean, especially at this point in the game, it's like when you're maybe 20, you're like, okay, I can maybe sit through this, but now it's just like.
But also with your girlfriend, if this was like
Oh yeah, that too.
Early on, you go, okay,
all right, yeah. Now you're like, give them the wrap it up box, the Chappelle wrap it up music.
Give it the light when you're having sex, the comic light. Here, flash your phone at them.
The phone at her.
She's giving you head and you flash your phone at her.
2 minutes.
Feminist men listen, and they want you to tell them what feels good. In fact, hearing about what feels good to them brings pleasure on them too.
Spending all my money.
Yeah, I know.
Spend all my money, you fucking whore.
What do you like? I just love it when you spend my money.
I like it when it's really wasteful too.
Even if it's your bull. I mean, I just want to hear what makes the girl feel good, even if it's a big other man having sex with her while I watch in the corner, if that's what you need. So men who openly define themselves as feminists are typically the same guys who would not likely mansplaining something to you at a party. They realize that what you have to say matters, and they're willing to listen, even if all you're saying is a little bit to the right.
Yeah, the mansplaining guy still. It's like whatever. This is like one of those things where you're like, your first weekend back from PragerU kind of thing, and you're like talking about. But it's like our friend Monty Scott. He had a really like funny comic in Toronto. It was a really funny joke where it's like mansplaining. Where he's like, you never had like you're trying to fix your car and your mom is like, that's not how you do it. And it's like, what the fuck do you know about this?
Yeah,
it's
it's because he's a landlord. His girlfriend and his mom were giving him information on his landlord. He's like, neither of them have been landlords, and I've been a landlord multiple times.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, I know about this, and they're like, just people have opinions and like to give them.
But even that. This is my new, I wasn't even thinking this before today, but I'm kind of having a new feminist revelation, which has probably been said a million times because everything has. But it's like, if you look at what they're like asking for, it's like a guy they can boss around and a guy who listens to them.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you want someone to listen to your squawking. You're like, no shit. Yeah, and we want someone who shuts up. This is so they're like, they think that like feminist men can sort of, because they're like, oh, this feminist man will just do everything we want. This is how they essentially...
Yeah, they just want to boss someone around and just do their bidding.
They want someone to do their bidding.
100%. It's like what it is. It's like I'm sure there's women who are like, hey, look, you like listening to podcasts like to their boyfriend, so just listen to one less podcast and just listen to me. We'll just fucking drone on about bullshit.
Yeah, if you like listening to people talk so much.
Yeah, exactly.
It is so funny because
I'm sure there's been fights too. It's like, but you love listening to podcasts. And you're like,
podcasts is an interesting thing because the whole thing was like men never listen, and all men listen to like 4 hours a day of other people speak.
yeah, you think there's like ASMR, like that genre where it's like people just
Yeah.
like whatever. Like, do you think there's a genre of like dudes who are just like total bitches and they just there's a podcast of just like a naggy girlfriend? It's just like 4 hours of a girlfriend nagging to you or like telling you some story that goes nowhere, and they just like
That's how you get cucked by just a really long,
like literally
story.
like cuckcast. It's the cuckcast.
You know what it
and you
is?
just listen to
You know how you make it? The girl
record
story?
my girlfriend. Record your girlfriend for a few hours. Like,
You take the choose your own adventures.
yeah.
You take all the parts and just put them out of order. You take every part of a choose your own adventure and then just like randomly track them in any
Yeah,
order.
you'd be like, this makes no sense. It's like, welcome to my life.
Welcome to mine. But that's what it is. It really is that. They're like, yeah, dudes want their fucking chick to shut the fuck up sometimes. And girls want a guy that's going to listen to them.
Yeah.
And girls want like the dude to basically be their bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, this is what they think is solving that. They're like, well, maybe the answer is a man who's on our team.
Right.
Like a guy that's like, okay, what are my goals? I just want a woman to be happy at all
It's
costs.
literally to be like, you know what, a guy's like, you know what, I want a woman who like wants to fuck all the time, doesn't want, and you're like, yeah, a gay guy? Like, and then you're like, what do you want to be gay? Like, no, it's like,
Well, that's the problem.
It's not really the solution. It's like,
They forget that like when you take all this stuff, when you have the guy
make
that's
a
pegging
woman.
you,
you're literally
Right.
like a guy who wants to get fucked, listens to you, cares about your interests. You're like, you just described a woman.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. And then so when this doesn't work, because I think this girl's probably like early in the feminist game who wrote this. I feel like you said, it feels like I went to first year women's studies, so it feels like they wrote this article and they're like, oh, I think what we need is feminist men. That'll be the ticket.
Yeah, that'll be the ticket.
And then after that doesn't work, and then they go, maybe I'm gay.
Right.
Because they're like all of the stuff, but this guy's still got some pesky guy qualities.
Yeah.
So I think that's the next step. They go, okay, maybe I'm gay. And they try that for a little bit. And then they go, oh,
this is just how the world is.
this is just how the world is. They're from Mars.
Yeah, they're from Mars.
But yeah, because you're missing. But then they realize like, oh, well, when I'm with my girl, now they go so far the other way. Then they're trying to recreate the other stuff. They're like, yeah, but I need you to dominate me. And the girl's like, well, I can cosplay, but I don't really like to dominate.
Yeah.
So then they find another girl. So then they end up with like a butch lesbian, and they try to build it back up into a man. Right? So they start by being like, how can I get everything I want? And then they go to the feminist man, and then they slowly strip down everything that's like a man about him till they basically have a girl. Still not enough of a girl. Then
In
they
a man's body, but not a gay guy.
not a gay guy. Or sometimes a gay guy.
But sometimes a gay guy, I guess.
So they basically get to the...
I guess that's the ideal for a woman is all you really want is a gay guy
who will
who's straight.
fuck you.
Like you just
A gay guy's straight.
a straight gay guy.
But no, they don't, because a gay guy's still like whiny and stuff.
right, and they're saying, yeah, and they probably like have they have their own.
How many times have you been
problems.
with a girl? I mean, I've seen you in relationships. Like, how many times is like the most thing that they're attracted to is like the fact that you're like stable, you never fucking, you know, like how many times have you been with a girl where she's like having a freak out and you're like the calming effect?
Yeah. Of course.
Imagine she's having a freak out and he's like, you're having a freak out.
It's like, yeah, this is losing it.
She comes in. She comes in. She's like, this man at work doing this. And the guy just looks at me and goes,
I start crying. Yeah, like a fucking child. Like,
oh my God. No, she comes, imagine it's like the opposite. Like she comes home, because you've ever seen two girls like have a problem. They're both freaking out. Yeah. Like the girl comes home and she's like, I have a problem. My landlord says that I didn't pay rent, but I paid rent. And instead of being like, okay, let's just call him. Like, no, okay, if you need money, like what, how about this? Like, let's just pay it for now. And then we'll call it. You come home and you're like, we're moving. Like we're moving to Arizona. Like this fucking guy. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write a status online about it.
Yeah.
Like all these insane solutions.
absolutely.
So basically, once they
wait, are you saying that women are sometimes irrational?
I didn't say that. You're putting fucking
Ryan,
words in my You're putting words.
Are you insinuating?
You're putting words in my mouth. Well, they have good things too. I wouldn't want to strip a guy into a girl, as you were saying you wanted to do earlier. But so I think that that's the quote. Women have good things too.
Yeah, women
so
have good things too.
they strip it down to a lesbian.
Yeah.
And then once they strip it down to a lesbian, they need to build. Then they're like, okay, how do I build this back up? Then they build it back up to a butch woman.
Yeah.
Because they find like a girl with a lot of guy qualities.
And then essentially settle on a feminine man.
Oh, I think maybe they go up and down with those whole things. And that's why they're saying sometimes on this. And it's like basically depends on what had last that I hated.
And then a couple of their friends are having kids and they're like, oh shit, I don't have time to fuck around like this anymore.
I can't be playing Mr. Potato Head anymore.
Yeah. Mr. Potato. It's just Potato Head.
They're doing Potato Head to find a mate, basically.
Yeah, and they're like just into all the fucking
switches. Add some irrational women. No, because they take away like the stability
add
of the guy.
Mustache.
Yeah, they're like
the curly mustache.
They put the curly mustache on the lesbian, and they're like, maybe that'll work. Okay, so they go, no matter what your level of sexual experience or skill is, they're secure, and they will keep trying to get it right. Which is, oops, wrong hole. Oops. But it's like a suave though, because they say the positive thing about male feminists is they're confident even if their level of sexual experience is bad. So it's kind of like, oops, wrong hole.
Sorry, I came in 4 seconds. It's all very new to me, but I'm for the cause.
But they're still so confident.
They're very confident in coming in 4 seconds. Yeah, they're zero apologies. I'm not apologizing for coming in 4 seconds. I'm not going to be like a dick about it.
Regardless of their sexual experience, they're secure and they'll keep trying to get it right. Yeah, so that's what it is. Oops. I can't get it.
Sorry, I came in 4 seconds, but I'll be ready to go in a few hours.
I am not able to achieve an erection, but that's okay. And she's like, it's not okay. Communication is everything between the sheets. And I assume she's not talking about the KKK sheets. And your feminist man will keep talking and listening until he gets it right. And he will probably willing to try again in the morning. You a morning guy?
Nah. Do you ever think there's a fucking...
I'm a morning guy. I weigh 1,000 times.
No, I'm a night guy.
I'm not
not a morning guy. I feel like that was a younger me was a morning guy. The older I get, the less I'm a morning guy.
You think it would be opposite. The older I am, I get home and I
need to be drunk. No. But no, I'm not.
That is a factor, yeah.
This is kind of low on batteries, by the way. Not low, but we're at 1 bar.
Okay, well, I have brought more batteries.
Batteries. Do you think there's what was the thing with the between the sheets? What was the line? The between the sheets thing?
So basically, communication is everything, and your feminist man will keep talking and listening until he gets it right.
Oh, okay. No, but there was something between the sheets? I was saying it sounded like it could be a blog from like an Orthodox like Jewish lady.
Communication is everything between the sheets.
Yeah. Do you think that's been written in like an Orthodox Jewish blog?
Oh, why? Oh, because of that. Because of the fucking through the hole.
Fucking through the hole. Okay. I've never been able to confirm that, by the way. Whether
it happens.
Yeah. It was like even when I was in like Jewish school, it was like a rumor that they fuck through the sheets.
He's not Jewish. He just went to Jewish school.
I just went to Jewish school
to bully.
No, but I remember like we had teachers.
Ain't you, boy?
We had teachers, and I remember because we were all like pretty just like whatever, and then like but our teachers were like Orthodox, and then we're like so they're like they fuck through sheets.
Is that the thing that like every Orthodox fuck through sheets, or is it only supposed to be some?
I don't like. That's the thing. I can never get like. I think it's maybe like the ISIS of Jews maybe do that, like the super like the Williamsburg ones, like where they all wear the same shit.
But why?
Because it's fucking shit's gross.
Wives are wives are gross.
Shit's nasty, dude.
You seen the fucking outfits we put them in? They're fucking gross.
Yeah,
dude.
It's like
bad hairdos,
gross.
Wigs.
Yeah, exactly. The wigs and it's nasty.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I mean,
almost not sick.
If you're if you're like kind of closet gay, but Orthodox Jew, and that's kind of the move.
That would be the move. Yeah.
Is the whole.
Do you think that one closet gay Jew started that, where he
probably
do it all through the sheets?
Yeah, like
that's every.
It was like, feels like this is gross. And
yeah. But doesn't it feel like everything started like that? Like, because that's the Jewish guy. The hat started with like one bald guy, obviously.
Yeah. He's just covering the bald spot.
The wigs in the courtroom started from a bald guy, probably.
Probably, yeah. No, the wigs. I remember Joe Rogan talked about it. The wigs in the courtroom was from like
Lice.
It was like syphilis or something. Everybody had syphilis.
So why would you want wigs?
And they were losing their hair. Everybody lost their hair or something because of like something like that. It's don't quote me on that, but it's something like syphilis. Everybody had syphilis, and then the wigs started from, and then but they still do it.
Feminist men are into going down on you, unlike this douche canoe. And they link to an article of a douche canoe.
Of a douche canoe, yeah.
Who was righteously sullied all over the internet last few weeks. And his article said why I don't go down on girls. And the feminine sphere just murdered him.
You know what's funny though? Is like they would only do that if he was white. Like if it was like some fucking like Caribbean dude who's like, why I don't go down on girls, the blog, they'd be like, that's his culture.
1,000%.
That's his culture.
Of course.
Could,
Did you they go.
It'd be like a Chad. It has to be a Chad.
It's a Chad. It's a Chad.
It has to
DJ.
be a Chad.
They wouldn't. Well, DJ Khaled got like beat up a little bit, but
Did
not
he?
for very much.
Oh right.
Yeah, I see. It's almost the other thing too, where I don't know if you're. I have some people that I know that will tell girls like the problems, but like if I have a girl and she's like hairy or smelly or anything like that, I'll never tell them that. I had one where I almost came close because it was texting, and then the girl was like, "Oh, why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you go down on me?" And I was like, kind of like taken back that she was, because she was very like sex positive type. Right. And I was like so close to just like, saying like, because you're fucking. It was gross.
Yeah, it stinks.
Yeah, it was gross. It was like
the pussy be stinking.
But
would you consider just sending like some Martin Lawrence like old stand up, just like here, just watch this, and he's like, you know how the pussy be stinking, and she's like, did you watch that? Did you kind of? Do I have to?
Anyways, it's because I'm gay.
This shit's gross.
Yeah, so I never, but I still never did. I was just like,
yeah, that's a tough conversation to have because like women will be. I find that women will be like, yeah, I can take it, and then like just lay it on me,
no,
and then they're like, and then you're like just tears.
I'm a very.
It's literally like, why would you tell it like it is? Like The Simpsons, remember? It was like you didn't have to tell it like it is, and you're like,
I really am. I mean, it is. I feel like I'm almost. And I don't know if you feel like this too, but I'm almost like a bit of at like a weird paradox because in my personal life, I am the ultimate never tell the truth. And I don't mean tell the truth, never be the bearer of bad news.
Right.
Do you know, even like I'm even maybe with like two people, but like there were very few people where they would be like, oh, this guy left me, blah, blah. And I would ever even be like, well, you're a nightmare. Like, you know what I mean? I'd always be like, even like friends of ours, I'll be like, he doesn't know what he's missing. Right. I would but then in like the fucking entertainment world, it's like literally all we do.
Yeah, it's all
you go on stage, and it's so funny because it's so contradictory to like how I am in real life with all you do with a girl. I'll be like,
not to say back to this exact Simpsons episode, but it's the one where Krusty's the comedian and Homer's like, I'm going to start telling it like it is.
Is that
right?
What happens?
Remember, it's like Krusty's the comedian. He's like, I love how he tells it like it is, and then Homer's like, Marge, like he starts being like, yeah, you're looking a little doughy, and she's like, you're the fattest one here, Homer. He's like, you didn't have to tell it like it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh yeah, it's because like you're a piece of shit if you're like doing that.
Right.
As like
I guess that's what
performer.
it is. But yeah, a lot of people think it's that. They'll be like, no, like they needed this. I go, they didn't.
No.
Even if they did, what do you get from being the bearer of that?
You go, oh, I get to be honest. You go, honesty is not the best policy always.
Fuck.
Like
no.
it's
any dude that's been married for or whatever in a relationship for more than 10 seconds knows that.
Yeah. Do you think happy wife, happy life, and honesty are the best policy? Are the same? Like go together? They're literally like oil and water. It's like.
But I guess if you go back to like a girl like this, what she wants is you to brainwash yourself to actually believe the bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, like you just have to be like, yeah.
But yeah, it is funny. Like even when I'm talking to people and I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. People have their opinions. Then I go on stage and I'm like, these idiots. And then I have to go on stage. Oh yeah. The videos and stuff. It is because I guess the difference is that you can't do the stuff we're doing without being on. Like there's no version of this.
Yeah, I mean, people they go to hear the honesty. Like they want to hear like the thing that their boyfriend and girlfriend won't say.
I am fairly honest with the girl I'm dating. That's the only person.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. About
like one or two people, but like anyone that I'm not extremely close with,
right?
That's probably.
I mean, there is
no
benefit to someone who you're not like. Like I've sometimes thought like sometimes especially because we hang out with comedians a lot, and especially if it's your friends, like you'll be like, we'll fucking really like burn each other, and then sometimes you'll see like an instance where someone's like someone's like not close to someone, and then they say something really mean, thinking like, oh, we're just ribbing each other, but like if you rib someone that doesn't know you well, it's pretty fucking rude. Like you don't have that relationship to be like, yeah, you fat piece of shit, and they're like, like I don't really know you that well. That was a pretty mean thing to say.
That sounds like something that happened to you at Jew school from the
no.
the Jew bully. The Jew slayer.
The Jew slayer.
Jew slayer. And they say, this one's good. This is what the Gosling thing they said. There's nothing hotter and more masculine than a man who is willing to be vulnerable for your edification. I'm not really sure exactly what that means.
I think it's just
Oh, maybe
gratification.
Okay.
Similar.
Ryan Gosling, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Aziz Ansari, Justin Trudeau. Those they list off.
What? So was this pre Aziz Ansari?
I don't think so.
This is post Aziz Ansari problems? That was after his Me Too?
I don't know. Maybe it is. It's a vintage article, maybe. Yeah. But there you go.
Ryan got this out of his blog seller.
Do you think that when you're having sex with Justin Trudeau, his blackface is dripping on you?
Yeah, he gets so sweaty because he's putting in such a fucking work.
He apologizes for all men before he has.
But he's putting in such an effort that the fucking blackface starts smearing.
The brown face.
It's getting so sweaty.
Yeah, so they say, okay, feminist men don't think that you owe them anything and aren't secretly thinking you've tricked them into you sexing them. So when you're having sex with them, you're not like what way you are, like, oh my god, 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 oh my god. Shh.
Don't blow this, don't blow this, don't blow this.
You got her. A feminist man would never think for one single second that he scored with you. No, you've both scored, if anything, because feminist men believe you have sexual agency. Also, it's not a contest. I
mean, literally, the concept of scoring is you're like, it is just like, if we say
it's
that
probably more scoring if she's out of your league. It's all that.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's like if you're saying that everybody's on a scale of 1 to 10, then it's just like whoever has the lower score scored.
Yes,
and vice versa. And if you had a higher score, you lost.
No, there is is some element of the man scored.
Yes, the man.
They want to take that away,
right? But I mean, no, I've known chicks who they're like, I fucked some dude who was like way out of my league, and they also like I totally scored, like he was way out of my league. It's just like
exactly.
It's just it's.
I mean, no, okay, so possibly, but also,
I mean, I've heard that from women.
Yeah, but that's them cosplaying, like thinking that. Right. I don't believe that they think that. Scoring for them is more like I was a fucking barista and I married a billionaire.
Yeah, this is a smaller win for sure. But
win is like I fucked that barista.
Girl
win is, and they're trying to reenact it. It's like no, there's actually a win for the barista too. Who fucked the customer, and you go, okay, sure, but it's not really the dynamic.
Yeah, it's like I fucked that barista. We can't go back to that coffee
shop
anymore.
I'm not really buying that narrative. Whereas
I've heard it. I mean,
I've heard them pretend that as well.
Yeah,
I've heard girls pretend like no, I've took that guy down.
But again, it's like if you see the guy and you see the girl and you go, yeah, no. But like sometimes you'll be like, if it's, if there is a big gap.
Of course,
there.
no. Of course, sometimes.
Yeah.
So I agree. This is sometimes that is the case where it's like, the girl tried to like get with this guy and she got with him. Mm-hmm. But more often, but I'm saying that's less.
Right. And girls aren't like bragging about that stuff as much. So
yeah, definitely. Like it's just there is both, of course,
but less, of course.
Yeah, but less. That's all I'm saying. No, so where they're saying it's like every time all the same, like you're having sex with a girl and you whisper in her ear, "We both won." Scores 1-1.
Can you put on the dildo so we can both win?
It's 1-1 right now. Intelligence is damn sexy. If nothing else, hooking up with a feminist man ensures that the naked body in your bed is attached to a healthy, agile brain.
I would say it's the opposite. Some of the feminist men are fucking morons.
Yeah, so
they're like
the jump.
Yeah. All right.
So they're solving their, but that's the thing. They're like, we need a smart guy, and they're like, well, if we say that only feminist men, that's funny. Only feminist men are smart.
Yeah.
I mean, that's funny that you could like do for people that are probably against intelligence by region, you could probably do quite the intelligence graph of interesting that every brilliant man was born in New York or LA.
Yeah, exactly. Every guy that I peg's a fucking genius.
the like just the intensity of brain power in Portland right now.
Yeah, I know.
Portland is just the hub of innovation.
Where do you think Portland would be the pegging capital of America?
That's a pretty good question.
Yeah.
you see, if it was pegging by
The thing is like you could probably like because Amazon, their back end, like they probably have some really crazy like info there, but like they could be like probably like like dildos sent to like male names, and then they can kind of like remove like products that only gay men would order, and like you could kind of probably get a decent idea of like that city.
Bezos probably has all that information.
Like he could be like go to some dude at like their like AWS team and be like, I want to find out like the pegging capital of America, and they could run, so they would figure out a model and they would get him in the answer.
So per capita, obviously, if we were saying per capita, it would if not per
Ryan's
capita, it would
house.
be Portland. 100%.
Yeah.
Is 100% pegging ratio.
Yeah.
But if you're doing per capita, I think it would be somewhere like Portland. It would have to be.
It would have to
but
be.
if obviously if you're doing total pegs,
Total
it would be LA.
LA, right.
It would just be the it'd be like the biggest liberal place.
Yeah, LA would have to be it. It could even be per capita LA, just because all the, like the sex. It's like the kind of the sex capital of the world. Well, not sex capital of the world, but North America probably.
I think I would go Portland.
Yeah, because I don't think it would be like it wouldn't be anywhere. Yeah, I think so.
I think you're most
So West Coast America.
okay. What percentage of Republican dudes would be into getting pegged? Do you think?
Not a lot.
Right. So my point is that in Portland they probably have it's probably like 90% left wing people or whatever. Whereas in California it's kind of probably like 60-40.
Yeah, like it's pretty. Yeah, it's a pretty blue state, but I think like in the north.
So the pool per capita of people that were willing to be pegged is probably higher in Portland.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
We're
But
doing some real hard-hitting journalism.
yeah, and they said
podcast.
even if you're sapiosexual, a smart sexual partner will get you off faster, better, and more often. Sleep with feminist men, because I can attest they do exist, and they're a total worth your time. Because if enough of us hetero chicks insist on checking feminist credentials before taking off our clothes, then we'd be able to change the system. But or you'd be able to, like I said, introduce a technique known as lying. So if you were able to get a technique known as lying into the mix.
What's the author of this podcast or this article?
I didn't write down an author, but I just copied and pasted it. But what I was going to say is one thing that with a couple things. One is I feel like girls like this hate so much that other girls don't think this.
Right.
Like she must, because she's like, right, girls will all
They think they're oppressed. They're like, you guys are like dumb, oppressed, like they're victims of the patriarchy.
They think they think the other girls are oppressed.
Yeah.
But also it's the funny thing where they go, girls like us, need to get together to like only fuck feminist men to change the system. And then all the other girls are like, no. So she's like imagine, as guys, we're like, women need to stop, nagging us. Mm-hmm. Let's stop fucking them. Right, guys? Yeah. Hands in.
Whoa, guys.
Until every girl pays their equal share, we're going to stop fucking them. Right, boys?
Right.
And
And then,
zero guys. And then you'd be the guy being like, guys,
no,
I thought we were gonna
some guys would. And then the other guys would be fucking snakes. They'd be like, yeah, these fucking idiots.
Some 99.9% of guys would be snakes. So that's what she thinks. She's like, why are, these girls are fucking us over. We need to, so it's just funny.
We need to like band together.
Okay. So the funny part is she said, even if you're not sapiosexual. So do you know what sapiosexual is?
Yeah. It's called, if a girl ever tells you that, it means you're fucking ugly. Literally, she goes, if you're on a date with a girl.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
If you're on a date with a girl and she goes, I'm a sapiosexual, she just doesn't find you attractive. She's like, you're gross, but I'll fuck you anyways. My standards.
My boyfriend's a sapiosexual. So a sapiosexual is someone who finds the content of one's mind to be most attractive.
Yeah, it's like literally how you it's like literally how you like let down someone you don't want to fuck. Be like,
I'm not a sapiosexual.
Your brain, but it's
no, you don't let them down. If you were a sapiosexual, then
you're a sapiosexual. But I'm saying if you don't identify as a sapiosexual, that's how you like say you
say sorry. I'm not sapio.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not sapio. I can't fuck you. I find you gross. Great brain though. Fucking packing upstairs, but
you're gonna if we find the right sapiosexual for you.
Like if there was that dating site that was called like Sapio Date, it would just be like all twos.
Yeah. It is true though, because you're never gonna see a girl. She's like, this guy's such a sapiosexual, and it's like chiseled abs, like
right. Exactly. Never like I just love his brain.
That's so funny. You know, or girls are. Do you think there's a new thing where girls say they're financiosapio? Because it is true. It's like that's what most are attracted to. But you go, I'm a financiosapien.
Yeah, you're sexual. I just love
Financiosexual.
guys with money, and you go.
I know it's an affliction. How is
Yeah.
a sapiosexual? That you're right. That is the worst, dude. Like you're never seeing a sapiosexual that like comes in and he's riding on a horse, like you.
No.
Flowing fucking.
No, he's like some fucking computer programmer, dude.
No, it's Danny DeVito.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Danny DeVito's wife's a sapiosexual.
Right.
No, she's a financiosexual.
No, she's not. Because exactly, she's not. Like because you cross a boundary when you like when.
So
you
he's got to be
successful,
poor too. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be like a poor smart.
So you literally have to be poor, ugly,
but smart.
but smart. And if the girl likes
And
you,
like, and usually,
because you're right. If you're successful, it's like you're like, oh, I'm really attracted to his brain. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
and low key the fact that he's like the president of Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like Grimes isn't like, oh, Elon Musk is a sapiosexual. I'm a sapiosexual. Like, shut up.
Right. Okay, so that's the first half of it. But the second half is that's what they describe why feminist men are good in bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but the second half is why feminists are good in bed. And this is a separate article on the same topic, and it says 7 things a feminist does in bed. And this is, if anyone's wondering, like, well, what's it like to have sex with a feminist? Like, and they're going to make the case that they're better, but this also is going to make the case that anything they do, they're still feminists. Okay, so things a feminist does in bed. 1, we're cool with dirty talk. Does every feminist like dirty talk? No. But while feminists will be damned if anyone calls her a slut in the real world, in the bedroom, it may be a different story. Because a feminist believes the you do you philosophy.
Right. That's the funny thing.
The you do you philosophy
It's-
covers a lot of ground, eh?
Right, yeah, I know. But it's like the funny thing is like having to like, get to that, because if you're a guy, because like every guy's probably been there where you're like, you don't want to just like without any sort of like investigation just call a chick a slut while you're fucking.
Yeah, you like that, you fucking hog?
Yeah, you like, you fucking whore, and like she's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you got to do some poking around there.
Yeah, so they subscribe to the you do you philosophy.
Yeah.
I also subscribe to the me do me philosophy, which
Yeah.
means not calling you in the morning. Means
The old trusty hand over here, me do me.
Yeah, that's the jerk off. That's also Danny's masturbation policy.
Yeah,
you do you.
me do me.
So they subscribe to the you do you philosophy, which says that as long as this is what the you do you philosophy says. As long as what gets you off is appropriate and consensual, then you should have at it.
Yeah, that's not you do you. It's like you do you as long as you abide by all of my rules. Then you can do you. And you're like, well, I'm not really
No,
doing
you're
me.
doing you. They
But
can't
I'm saying,
do them.
but you're saying like, yeah, it's like, like the chicks being like, yeah, do whatever you want as long as they're in the strict parameters that I define.
Yeah, which is appropriate. And
Yeah.
what does appropriate mean? It means that it's been commanded by me at the beginning
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
sex.
Like, it's not really you do you.
No, but they're not saying. Well, you didn't misunderstand this, but they're not saying the guy gets to do you.
Oh, right.
They're saying the girl gets to do
Oh,
her.
of course.
So that's why they're cool with anything, and they're still feminists because it's you do you,
Right.
which is literally the you can't take me at my worst, don't get me at my best kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, how come you ran a place and you only hired men and you're still a feminist? You do you philosophy.
Right.
Okay, we're not afraid to give direction. You don't say. That's it. So in case you were wondering what it's like to have sex with like a hardcore feminist, I'd say most, I've slept with like tons of feminist chicks or whatever. And what I've more experienced is that so many girls, especially like peak 2016, 17, like say they are, and then that means nothing in their real life.
Yeah.
Other than the odd post on the internet.
Yeah, just internet stuff.
They're like exactly the same as any other girl, except they say that they're that.
Yeah. And they had a septum ring for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Also, I've noticed recently a lot of girls that that they're going through their first course of PragerU. Like they've done the motions. They've tried to make the lesbian into a guy. Then they've gone back to guys. Yeah. All that sort of stuff. They've started to be like noticing that they are getting in trouble from their girlfriends for like not being a feminist enough. Mm-hmm. You know, and I've had girls say that like, oh, I can't win because like they'll get in trouble for liking something that's like not feministy, and then you'll get in trouble for not doing feminism right. Like
yeah. I mean, the moment you get caught in that world, it's just landmine after landmine.
Yeah, I know an Asian chick, and she was saying that she's been getting in trouble. Like they're saying that she's not supporting like Asians enough because she like dated white guys and stuff like that. And you're like, that's the age old combo: Jewish guy, white Asian girl.
Dude, I can't tell you how many friends of mine date Asian women.
Why do all Jewish guys date Asian women?
It's not all Jewish guys. It's definitely still a minority, but I don't know. It's like, I think the one theory I've heard is that Asian people, like value wise, is very similar.
That's possible.
So it's like the overall values is very similar, and then
dorks,
and then kind of, and like, but then also like they don't remind you of your mother in any way.
That's what the person was saying. They were like, yeah the biggest thing is that. I don't want to date a guy that reminds me of my guy the other way.
Or the other way, whatever. They don't remind you of like, you know, anybody in your family, but then they're like
see, I do like to date a girl that looks and acts like my dad.
Yeah. It's real fucking bro.
So we're not afraid to give directions. Feminists often like to be heard. Again, you don't say.
Oh, yeah, the bullhorn was a dead giveaway.
I love that's pretty funny, making an article clearing up. Like, just in case you thought, we actually do like to be heard. Yeah. I want to clear that up. We believe that our voice has power, and we may inject that belief into every corner of our life.
You don't say.
This whole section's a lot of you don't say.
This segment is called You Don't Say.
Especially our sex life. If you think you're going to be able to go to the bed with feminist and just skate by only giving 50%, then you're sadly mistaken. That's what they said. Yeah, so you have to go to give up. You know, I'm just gonna go in there with the girl. I'm gonna try to get past her armpit hair and just give it 110%. But you imagine the other way around? And I guess you can always say this with all that stuff, but some of them are more than others. When it's the other way around, where you go, if you think you have less than 110%, like unless you're talking to a prostitute, imagine finishing sex and go, what the fuck was that?
Especially if you finish and you're like, what the hell was that?
You call that fucking sex? What the fuck was that? Is it supposed to be a joke?
Yeah, is this some kind of joke?
What was that 60% tops? Am I a fucking joke to you? So the girl, if you think you're gonna skate by not giving the fuck,
sometimes it's required.
Yeah, so that's you are pranking me, I assume.
What was that shit?
You did one position. Your pumps, you're barely even pumping.
You came too fast.
You fucking starfish. We can both play dominating and submissive roles. So that's what, again, they're going
just
to
getting
that.
pegged. Just back to pegging dudes.
4, we really give it our all when it comes to having an orgasm. No, when it comes to you having an orgasm, that's what they're saying now. Right. So they're saying, so now they're, okay, I'm listening.
Okay.
So now they're pleading the case for why we should have sex with feminism, and they're saying we really care about your dudes coming.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
It's kind of the point.
Okay.
It's kind of the point of the whole exercise, but
okay, but I'm listening. They say we think that you're just as entitled. That's nice of them. They think that you're just as entitled as them to have a phenomenal orgasm. Described it.
Okay.
So we're okay. So we're going to make sure that absolutely positively happens.
I feel like that still just comes down to sticking something in their ass.
Well, but for me,
like their answer for everything is just like, we're just gonna stick some shit up there and see what happens.
Yeah, all of their things. But more importantly, the thing they go, we're absolutely, it's important for us to have a orgasm. I mean, you go, okay, well, for me, it means you not doing all this weird shit you're talking about.
Totally.
For me, you go, okay, they're thinking a guy orgasm is like a girl orgasm, but really, which this does go back to a classic girl thing. So this is just a classic case of girls doing an easier job and calling it equality. Because if you actually think about it, that's kind of what they're doing. They're like, no. It's just as important that you have one as I have one. And you one of these things, not like the other. And you go, that's the classic thing. You go, yeah, you're doing 70% of the work. And you...
Yeah, that's generous, I'd say.
Right? See what I'm saying?
Generous.
But yeah, you go, okay, well, for me, what that means for me is you not pegging me.
Yeah. I really don't want to be pegged.
Yeah.
Rules are rules. This is equality.
No, but then after that, what it means, really, I'll tell you what it means, is after she's deemed it like appropriate for you to now come, she's going to do all sorts of like performative weird shit. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, they're going to be putting on this whole like show.
Right.
Sit back and watch this, watch me work.
Right.
They're going to be doing all this weird, annoying stuff. Like, what do you need? Stop asking me what I need.
Yeah,
you know
like,
what I
let
mean?
me just do this. It's like, just give me 2
just
seconds.
shut up.
Yeah, just
Turn around. What do you need? Shut up.
Yeah, just stop talking.
So that's sort of the gist of it. Okay, so they say 5, and this is another I'm listening. They say, contrary to what people might think, we are cool with giving blowjobs. So if feminists will give blowjobs,
Cool.
sick.
Sick.
Sick. If we take into account, but what they do mean definitely is blowjobs at the end of, or before, but they don't mean.
Yeah, not just.
They
not
definitely
just.
do. Which I know. I'll tell you who it is. Nitish told me that he just gets straight up blowjobs a lot.
Nice.
That's what that deserves. Nice. He straight up says, he goes like, like whatever. They'll just be like hanging out and she'll just like blow him and that's it.
Yeah.
I've very, very
girlfriend
rarely
like that.
experienced that.
I had a girlfriend like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, she was.
When?
I don't know, 10 years ago.
That's great.
Yeah, it was solid. She was very into that, but then she was also like the craziest.
I don't think I've ever enjoyed a blowjob because anytime I get one,
You're like, what do I have to do now?
yeah, and more importantly, it's like let's say now I'm not as bad, but let's say I'm like back to being 20. I can have sex for 4 minutes,
Right.
without trying every technique in the book,
Right.
and you're gonna blow me for 3,
Yeah.
and then now afterwards expect me to fuck you.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So I'm always like, if a girl starts like blowing, I go, okay, if we're gonna have to do this, like, don't tick down my clock on this. At least let me get my
you're
credit for the full.
You're like you have a finite clock. with
right.
all those, right.
So they get you like till you're about to come, and then they're like, now pleasure me, and you
And
go, well, I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what this was about all along. So that's so I don't think I've ever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this one she was just.
I have to specifically ask for it, which I wouldn't want to do.
Yeah, I feel
or
weird.
have to get into a scenario where I'm like eating them out all the time. And
Right, it's like the trade. You're like trading it.
Whereas I would say more so, I think the trade would be like, listen, I'll bring you to a fancy dinner, and I want like a no questions asked blows,
Yeah.
and I don't, just come blow me. Don't expect anything in
Nothing-
return.
yeah, nothing
And I'll
after.
buy you this $200 dinner that you
Yeah.
so require.
Yeah. Sounds like prostitution.
No. Well, I'm not eating the dinner with her. She.
Part of it is I'm watching.
I'm gonna bring fancy dinner over to your house.
To your house, yeah.
Me and Daniel went to a $600 dinner with girls. We brought the girls out.
You want to know something funny?
Okay.
You want to know something funny though? I'll just say this is because you say it's $600, but the funny thing is like it was actually, and I know the exact amount. It was $532, but it's like I remember the exact number because I was like, oh, that's up there.
Well, the worst part, there's 3 parts that are terrible about this. So you go to fancier places than me. This has been bothering me.
I know this has been.
I mean, I'll do it. It's not actually the end of the world, but
I know.
Subscribe to my Patreon. I'm paying for very expensive dinners. I looked at my bank statements,
Yeah.
and I literally I think this place fucked up,
Right.
and double charged me or only charged me. And then Danny got away scot-free.
Oh,
And then
no.
and then I told
No.
never knew Scott. So I told Danny, I go, this place I think fucked up. They got charged me this much. And then you go, the worst part is when we finish, the girls go, oh, I thought it would have been more.
Yeah.
I go, excuse me?
They both, seriously, they were like, yeah, they're like, that's not bad. And like, they were kind of trying to like soften the blow.
I go, not bad. I was speechless. I'm speechless.
Well, that was fucking Ryan's rent payment right there.
$600.
Yeah, it was like 5 years.
I've been doing the thing where I go, I had to take over how to take out a mortgage, and anything that happens, I go, you know what I mean? Like, could we
Ryan's
go?
like, off to the plasma bank again. Just
No,
just
literally,
give
he'll be
some
like, hey,
blood.
can you buy coffees? And I go, I have to check my bank after the dinner. I was saying that I have my banking.
The worst
issues.
part too is the next day too. Like my girl, like probably 2 times, was like she kept bringing up how reasonably priced it was.
Stop it!
I swear.
Shut the
I
fuck
was
up!
like,
Shut up!
I swear.
She did not bring up that
Like
place
she goes,
was reasonably
not reasonably
priced.
priced, but she's like, I thought that would have been more from like
Fuck
all the
off.
drinks we had. She's like, I really thought that would have been more. And I go, huh?
Are you kidding me?
I'm
Is
not.
this like a ruse that she's doing to like suit you up for
Yeah,
the
she's-
next one, which is going to be
Of
double?
course. No, she's literally like she's
That's
she's like
insanity.
literally trying to like program me to think like, oh man, I got like what a steal that was, huh? I'm like going to my friends being like, fuck, I thought I was getting rinced, but turns out I got
She's trying to program your brain.
Yeah, she's like, I got a deal of a lifetime.
And are you like, shut the fuck up?
I go, I'm like, I mean, again, I knew how much that place was gonna cost. I'm not like I've been there before, so it's like
I
there was-
didn't.
Yeah,
I was expecting
I did not.
$150 each.
yeah.
Like
Per
after on
couple,
the bill.
per couple. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was. I mean, it was. Yeah.
Well,
it's a nice trendy place in Miami.
It was very trendy. Right beside us,
DJs.
there were 4 Latino women with their kids there.
Yeah.
And so we're at like a fancy club. So it looked like the type of girls that are dating like mob bosses. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? And these women have their kids there and they're all like drinking and dancing.
Yeah.
And their kid, it's 12.
Uh-huh.
So the kids are 6 years old. The one kid is sitting there and he's bawling his eyes out.
Yeah, because he wants to go home. Yeah.
He's bawling his eyes out. So these mafia moms in their like $3,000 outfits, they have their drinks and they're like dancing.
Oh, yeah.
This kid is sitting there,
'Cause-
and they're not even looking at him.
Yeah. It's like I think that's.
And then the other kid was
You just
sleeping.
bring your
One
kids out
kid
to clubs.
passed out. He's at a club, passed out.
Yeah, I know.
on the patio.
And honestly, the thing is, like
Miami.
Miami has the curfew right now, so it's like the place had to close at 12 or 1. But it's like normally, I'm sure they'd keep their kids there until fucking 3 in the morning.
Yeah, it's insane.
Dude, I'm telling you, Miami has a 24-hour.
They bring the kids on the dance floor and make them dance on the feet like it's at a wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Miami has a 24-hour strip club. It's crazy.
That is crazy. If we take into account things like autonomy and choice, then any feminist who wants to suck her partner's penis. Funny writing.
Suck her partner's penis. Would you like me to suck your penis, partner? You're about to get the worst blowjob of your life. You hear that? Would you like me to suck your penis, partner?
Who wants you to suck her? Any feminist who wants to suck her partner's penis. Oh, they're saying partner because her girlfriend could have a dick too.
Right, of course.
I didn't actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. That's why if she wants to suck her boyfriend or girlfriend's penis and love it, and is delighting in the satisfaction that comes from getting her partner off and the empowerment of choice, so they can be empowered by sucking a cock.
I know I am.
But do you feel empowered when you blow a dude?
Of course. Always.
Also empowered.
I feel like I get power from their cum.
But see what I say? Because this is what I was saying in the last thing. They're like, it's very like important to, make sure you get off.
Mm-hmm.
But really what they mean is I'm going to be like empowering myself on your
well,
dick.
there has to be something that they get for this. Like it can't just be something where we're not just doing this for you. I
it's
have to
empowerment.
get some sort of like feminism like tokens.
Yeah.
That I can like fill up my feminism.
Feminist
piggy bank.
equality really looks like a dude that gets bitched the fuck around by them.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's expected to, blah, blah, but he should be so happy when we blow him once a year to empower myself.
It's only to empower.
And just so you know, this is to empower myself.
If you fucking enjoy this too much, I'm going to stop and be like, this is for me.
Okay, 6, we let porn inspire us. So that's one thing that's good about them, which I actually find it annoying having sex with, like, when you have sex with a girl that's like in her like early 20s or something and she's like been into porn, the idea she's moving her arm so the camera, the camera doesn't get in the way. She's got all the moves. I actually find that annoying, but they say
the worst is the noise. When the ones who are just like super loud,
just too much,
and you're like the real
production,
the acting with the.
It is funny because even as I'm talking, like we'll say this shit to like our female friends, and you can hear them being like, "Oh, you guys are so idiots." You're like, I'm telling you, I know a lot of guys that hate that annoying shit.
Uh-huh.
This is
like we don't want you to pretend like you're not.
No, you want
present, but
it's just the faking it. It's like we're not that stupid.
Yeah.
We're stupid, but not like that dumb.
Not to that degree. No.
Where you could do all this fake nonsense and watching porn, and then you're not. it's like when you try to actually like have a connection with someone, part of it is that you're not playing a character like entirely. And when you can tell when they're just like totally playing like the character.
I mean, there's so many people listening to this podcast who are probably like, I'm literally playing a character of a man richer than I am. But
well, women are creating porn that's less misogynistic and heteronormative and more diverse, realistic, and inclusive. You know, wheelchair porn, all sorts of stuff, and therefore more enjoyable for them. This doesn't mean that we only watch feminist porn. We are open to suggestions, of course. I mean, we're not tyrants. Yeah, that's not what you want, really, is like none of this sounds that enjoyable, but more importantly, if they are, I would rather them stick to this nonsense than being like, yeah, I've been experimenting with, I've just been mainlining blacked.com.
or like, you know, if a feminist dude's girlfriend's like, yeah, I've been watching wheelchair porn. You're like, great, you're going to stick a wheelchair in my ass?
Spokes.
Great. I don't know if we're going to fit an entire wheelchair in there, but.
Yeah, this article is just, I'm still a feminist, right? We enjoy ourselves. So that's, it's funny that they're clearing up these misconceptions too. The idea that, because the whole gist of it is like almost debunking, like, just so you know, feminists also enjoy themselves.
Yes.
It's like they almost like low key know how much everyone hates them.
Even though there's a 50% chance we may accuse you of this being non-consensual after the fact, we are enjoying it.
Yeah, but the conception is them having sex like,
oh, Mr. Bean. Oh.
they have sex like Mr. Bean. Although old school science will tell you, believe that only men enjoy sex because only men have sex drives. That's what they're saying. It goes back to the Jew cap, where the reason the original guy had it because he's bald. It's always like a lot of like false information, if this was a thing at one point, is because like one guy, you know, like he was just like, it's actually, he has the beacons, like it turns on, trust me, I did the research, only men.
That guy was Jesus.
Yeah. Like but this was him trying to convince his wife. Yeah. Like his wife's like, I hate having sex with you. And he's like, I did look at all these charts. And it's like, I have the science.
I have the sex drive.
I have the science, and it says that only men are supposed to enjoy it. So the fact that you're not enjoying it, actually, that's just humanity, baby. So any thoughts that a woman, just because she's a feminist, might not totally be down to get laid is just crazy talk. So I would be definitely down to go. If you are talking to a feminist at a bar and she's not totally down to get laid, make sure you mention that that's crazy talk.
That's crazy talk.
That's crazy talk, baby.
And then when she Me Too's you, being like, he said it was crazy talk, and then I kind of did something I didn't want to do.
Might not totally be down. I'm totally down to get laid. And if anyone who says otherwise is
crazy talk. It's a fucking liar.
Anyone who says otherwise of me being totally fucking down to get laid, I have a feeling that I'm not gonna listen to that one.
Yeah.
I would say
that didn't age well.
Yeah, although these feminists are saying that anyone down to get laid is crazy talk. Anyone that if they're not down to get laid is crazy talk. I have a feeling that don't take them up on that. Don't take them up on that one.
Yeah.
Also, okay, so that's the end of the article. But I thought that one thing that made me laugh at the end of it like popped up other articles from feminism, and it said 7 reasons why every woman needs to see a financial advisor. And I was just loving the idea that like click on and it's like 1, they're bad at math. 2, their husband has enough on his plate.
You spend all your money on crystals.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, well, that's the wrap up of that article.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was anything else that you wanted to chat about for a second. You said you wanted to mention DeSantis.
Well, just because we're in Florida, I just thought it was funny that.
Yeah, one last thing.
Everybody's like killing all the like people are basically killing DeSantis right now for being like,
based.
Well, there's basically being like, Florida's doing well, but it has nothing to do with DeSantis. It's in spite of him, and you're like, no, it's literally doing well because like, and I remember like everybody's like, they've been saying for the last 8 months or 10 months, they're like, well, just give it 2 weeks. We're going to see the fucking bodies pile up. And then it turns out that like, so Florida had
turns out it's completely fine.
Well, Florida had higher case counts. So they had higher per capita, more cases than the per capita of the United States, but they had like way lower deaths.
Really?
Yeah. The deaths per capita in Florida are lower than like the American average.
And DeSantis is just fucking dancing on people.
Now he's like dunking. He's like, Oh,
he has
dude.
been a fucking dunk fest.
Oh,
lately.
dude, he's like literally like, all those like, he's like, we're killing California. He's like, the economy's booming.
And he sort of
here.
said he's not Republican or Democrat. Isn't that the guy?
No, he's a Republican.
I thought that was the guy that John Lonsdale and those guys were talking about or whatever.
No, that's the mayor of Miami.
The mayor of
The
Miami.
mayor
So
of
they like
Miami.
that
So the
guy,
mayor
too.
of Miami, Suarez, he's like, I want to be able to pay employees with Bitcoin. You'll be able to pay.
So
your,
everyone
like,
likes Suarez.
Yeah, he's the big Bitcoin guy. He's like, I want all these tech companies coming here. Like he's like, he's turned Miami into like where people are like, oh, like, you can move to. I mean, dude, 5 years ago, it was like L.A., New York, and then like Miami was like kind of this weird like place.
It wasn't up there.
It's like a party city, but it's like wasn't like a serious place to move for like business and whatever. And now all these people are like,
He's just crushing.
I mean,
the
we're here
economy.
right now. It's pretty sick. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's definitely not what I expected of Miami before I ever came here.
But yeah, all those guys.
But
they
now,
really
it's
are.
like the thing is like nobody could just be like, okay, I guess this guy was kind of right, because then they would have to just.
Those other guys are like, it's obvious, but like California guy, he legitimately, no one's made a bigger mess of COVID. Like even like with the vaccinations, the amount that they've like fucked it up for their like equity programs and making sure that people with the right color of skin gets it first, and they're just like sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, and they just have like fucking 5 million vaccines. It's crazy. I mean, no, nobody's fucking up worse than Canada, actually.
Oh,
Canada's
California on crack, but
like it's the biggest. I can't even believe it. Like right now, people are like, we're just getting our first vaccines. Like, it's crazy.
I really think that that is when you look at the future of, because you kind of are like, okay, if the Republican dudes were going to win, they can't go back to like stuffy old conservative guy.
No.
And it seems like DeSantis would be the type of guy that could be the president for them. Like,
I mean,
because he's not afraid to get criticized,
Yeah.
which is the big problem with a lot of the stuffy conservative types. They're still trying to be like, no, I'm good. Like, they just as much, like, do you know how like woke people and all those people is all like, look at it, here's a black guy. They do the same game. They go, here's a black guy that agrees with us. Like they do all that same shit because they're really afraid. Whereas like DeSantis and those types are more just like, no, I'm right. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And
And I mean, the people who criticize him, they're like, well, you didn't know this was going to happen. Like, they're like, you just got lucky. And you're like, maybe, I don't know. It's like,
Shut the fuck up.
it wasn't, yeah, like, they just like, you literally give them no credit. And then you just like, they're kind of like, they're like, yeah, you should, the way to be is just super cautious. And we'll just reopen everything when there's 0 cases of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone left your places and you're
That's why people are literally moving to Miami right now. And
base DeSantis. I've had a lot of people message me, be like, how's Miami? And I'm like, way
that's
better.
great. That's great.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Better.
yeah.
But the also one thing we should address
Yes.
is before we go, I just want to say that a certain David Aaron Long does not represent the opinions of the Long family.
Yeah.
There's a certain person out there besmirching the Long name. Literally, when I saw that shooting, I looked at it and then I saw the guy's name. I go, I'll sit this one out. Dude, that's my cousin's name.
Oh, yeah, Aaron Long.
Luckily, he's like a black dude, but
Yeah.
but-
I mean, I think there's a lot of people named Aaron Long.
yeah, but I saw the
Do you
guy.
see what came out? Like it came out today, like basically the whole story behind it or whatever. So
Okay,
it's like,
so what did he
So
say?
he's like a super religious gun nut,
Yeah,
right? Like super Christian dude.
had a
who-
bad day.
well, that was the crazy thing.
That was a
he
wild
goes, I
comment.
guess I had a bad day. You go, you think? You think you had a bad day? And then, but no. So he's like, he literally was in and out of sex rehab. So he was like one of those dudes. He's like one of those like kind of self-flagellating, like flagellating, like so he would go to these like rub and tugs, and then he'd be like, oh, I'm disgusting for going.
Yeah.
And then he's like it's so unpure, like that kind of like religious dude. And then he would go into these like sex rehab things. All these people were like in these sex rehabs with him, and they were like, yeah, they're like he wasn't really an internet guy. He didn't even have a smartphone.
Really?
Like he had a flip phone. He's just like a fucking he like kind of like not even really an incel dude. It sounds like he's like because I was like. Because people were like, oh, this is like a racist terrorist thing. And then I was like, just based on the neck beard. And I was like,
he was looking more in.
Because people were like, well, he was targeting Asian people. Then I was like, well, but we all know that like rub and tugs are like mostly, or not mostly, but a lot of times.
Well, I mean, I was thinking that because it was one of those things. As soon as this happened, it's almost like Groundhog Day, where you just watch everyone trying to attach it to their narrative. It's
exactly.
Like,
Everybody,
these people are like, it's more. It's actually a women thing. It's actually this
a Trump thing. And
it's just You said it could have been. That's what our friend said. It could have been Biden's nephew that shot down those people, and they'd attach it to Trump.
Yeah, they somehow charged. But I was like, I'm not going to jump to him. Like maybe
I was just like,
like maybe he was targeting Asians, but then it came out where he was like, it was just the
what the
sex
question
worker
would
thing.
be,
and then it was like that they happened to be Asian.
Well. So and then I think that then it's going to go back and forth. Who gets to own this one for their cause? You know what I mean? It's like, do the anti-gun people, can they make this their? It's like everyone.
I mean, that should be. It should be the anti-gun. Like in my opinion, I'm like it should go back to like the anti-gun thing.
No one. Do you think those people have the most claim to this?
But then I was talking to my girlfriend about it because she's like, yeah, it's so crazy, and I was like, she's like, yeah, it's we have a gun problem in America. I'm like, yeah, but like. There was a guy in Canada who wanted to do this exact same thing, and he rented a van and he killed killed the same amount of people. Yeah. Like it was maybe a little more random, but it was like he had felt it was
all
weird
the stabbings in the UK or whatever. I mean that's like the kind of the.
But I'm saying doing like to kill this amount of people in one go. It's like you don't need a gun to do that if you have the will to do that.
And I think that when you look at everyone trying to like grab it for their narrative or whatever. And it's like, it's almost too obvious to watch. But I think the question would really be, if it was an Asian thing, what you would need to know, which you'll never be able to know, is what percentage of rub and tugs are Asian.
A lot.
Well, but you'll never know because they're illegal businesses, right?
Right.
See, if this was like restaurants, you'd go, okay, well, 70%, this is the percentage.
China.
You go, what? Because I know in Toronto.
Well, they just call them, but you could say what percent of, but the thing is like, they're not classified like, a spa.
But that's what I'm saying. This is the question.
Yeah.
Okay, look. If he, so he went
I'd say he
went to 3 rub and tugs, they were all Asian, right?
Yeah.
If you do the math and you say
100%.
70%
yeah.
are all Asian, then you go.
Well, no, the question is what percent of massage spas are rub and tugs, right? Because they're not all, like, the thing is, like, in the East Village near me.
No, the question is what percentage of rub and tugs are Asian?
Yeah, at least 50.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. If it's 80, you go, I don't think there's a case for racism. If it's 20, you go,
Of course.
If it's only 20% of spa rub and tugs are Asians,
and
3 of them, what's the odds? It's 0.2 times 0.2 times 0.2.
Yeah.
And you go, statistically, this was a hit.
For
but
sure.
you'll never be able to get that information.
I mean,
which is convenient because the Sean Kings in the world get to use this how they want to use it.
Well, it still sounds,
and the other people, everyone gets to use it because you can never really
get
to the bottom
you can
of
never,
that.
there's
not
no
that
way.
they would care to anyway. But.
Yeah, not that they would care to, exactly. But like, for the sounds of it, these are just places he frequented. These were the places he frequented. Then he was like,
those are the ones he went to.
Those are the ones he went to.
So if anything, it's the opposite of racist because he really loved the Asian spot.
Right. But then
he loved them too much.
But then he was like, they're causing me to sin.
He liked them too much.
Yeah, this is like more of like a crazy God thing where he's like, they're causing me to sin.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, this is disgusting. I'm impure. Like, I have to like, it's like killing my drug dealer. But in this case,
yeah.
Like if someone went and killed the drug dealer and you go, oh, you're a drug dealer. Like, and he was an Asian guy and they go, oh, threats against Asian people. Like, it wouldn't be like that kind of thing. But
you really do have to, when all this stuff happens, like, as soon as you're like, okay, there's a shooting, you're like, okay, don't be a white guy. And then you're like, okay, it's a white guy. And you're like, okay, don't be a race thing. You know what I mean?
But I mean, the one thing I can think of, for Jewish stuff is like, whenever stuff happens, like, it's a Jewish thing. And it's like, so, like Jewish people will be like, oh, they're targeting Jews. And sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. And they'll be like, it'll be like...
Sometimes they were just targeting bankers.
Or whatever. Maybe like a fucking... Someone goes and like robs like a jewelry store. And they're like, oh, they're targeting Jews. And you're like, no, they're just...
Targeting jewelry stores.
They were going to rob a jewelry store and they happen to be run by Jews.
The problem is, it's like, even when you get... And you go... Even if you go, okay, well, which one was it? And you go... Even if you had all of the information... And you came out conclusively... Well, it doesn't matter... to anyone.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this.
No one cares. Like the people that
everybody attaches their flag and then they move, and then they use it to, but like the thing is like there's nothing is going to come of it for like in terms of like Asian stuff. Although it'd be like if you're, we know a lot of dudes who are like rub and tug guys and you're like, what's the day after that look like when like Biden's like we're gonna send the fucking National Guard to every rub and tug in America to protect them, like like when mosques get shot up or a synagogue gets shot up and like every synagogue and every mosque has like a heightened police presence and you're like, what are they doing now?
Heightened police presence,
like the heightened police presence because they're like because they're always worried about like copycats or whatever, which never happens. Like literally, like
what would you do if you were
zero.
there and they had like the guard there while you were trying to serve your customers?
Yeah, exactly. Like dudes have to like go through, like they're doing an illegal thing, and then they're like now there's like all this police scrutiny. I mean, the real losers in this whole thing are the rub and tugs because they're just like they probably are losing tons of business now.
That's the real losers, and everyone on the internet that has a narrative is a winner.
Yes,
whatever that narrative.
But the actual rub and tug people, a bunch of them got killed. And now the ones that haven't got killed, they're just like people don't want to go there because the increased scrutiny.
At the end of the day, that's the real losers.
So tip your rub and tug lady.
Tip your rub and tug lady.
Or man.
This has been the Miami Cast.
Boyscast.
Punching down. Ryan Long, Daniel Polishchuk. Check out the video this Monday we got coming out. Peace.
Bye.